and on mixlr.com/wakeupcall DT. I hope you're having yourself a tremendous morning this morning, enjoying the day, enjoying the weather. I had a beautiful drive this morning, and the weather was just immaculate. It was absolutely incredible. It was a perfect day to drive and see God's landscape, I'll tell you that much. So I hope you're having a good day this morning. If you're not, we're going to make it better. If you are, we're going to make it better. That's what I'm here for. So we will do our best to bring our best to you, and I'm so happy to be here with each and every single one of you inside the Cafe Kubal studios. Thank you for listening and watching. You are listening on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage. You are watching on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. You're also watching on facebook.com/live-now-dt. So however you're tuning into the show, thank you so much, and I appreciate it so very much having you here hanging out with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You know on Thursdays that Papa Joe is here with us for hour number 1, and sometimes he spills into hour number 2. Well, today Papa Joe is greedy. Today Papa Joe wants all 2 hours of your time, and you know what? We're going to do that. It's the Papa Joe Takeover. It's the Go-So 2-hour special. The grand old smooth one is here with us, locked in for Major League Baseball, the NCAA, and the NFL. We will be covering pro baseball, college football, and the NFL throughout today's broadcast. PJ will be with us inside the Cafe Kubal studios. You know we're rocking with Cafe Kubal in all their locations, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street, as well as 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and, of course, their location inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, right by the Dome, and their newest location and first ever drive-through location at the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse, a.k.a. Sweetheart Corners. So, with that being said, let's bring in the man of the hour inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. PJ is what's poppin' all day today with us. The entire broadcast will be sitting in with Papa Joe. There is nobody better to spend 2 hours with than Mr. Papa Joe, a father figure to me, an incredible person in the world, and just in all honesty, an encyclopedia of sports, a faithful man, and more importantly than anything else, one of the most loving and caring people you'll ever meet and that I have in my life. So, with that being said, I am not greedy enough to keep him in my corner. I want to put him in yours too. So let's bring him in. Papa Joe, how are we doing today?
Good morning, Daniel. Those are very nice accolades. I'm not sure I believe in all that stuff, but what the hell? Good talk. So we'll see what we got going. We got a lot of talk about. And there's just a lot of stuff in the news. You know, there's a lot on college football, NFL, and baseball, of course, winding down the season. So hey, listen, thank you for sending the link there for your baseball podcast. I like your bud that does the show with you. He seems like a nice guy, good, fun guy.
Yeah, Brendan Murphy is incredible. 2 Marywood alumni there. It's Brendan, when I started MU courtside in 2003 and put a name and graphics and all different things to the NCAA Division III men's and women's basketball broadcast at Marywood University, my alma mater. He took over that show years after I had started it, and he just finished up with that, graduated, and so Brendan is now working for my company, Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, and we have brought him on to do, a bunch of different things, one of those things being the fact that he is going to be with us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m., where you can go to the live feed on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt and see our baseball spin-off show from Wake Up Call, which is called Designated Diamonds, which Papa Joe's referring to. So Brendan's going to be with me every week, and he went to Marywood, and he is the reason why I got to go back after being a student and reprise my role on MU courtside. He actually asked me for the last couple of years to come back and be a part of the show again, and had me there live. So I definitely appreciate the fact that Brendan gave me something I never thought I'd have again, and now, I wanted to pay it forward and put him front and center. So I'm happy that we have Designated Diamonds, and he's an incredible person, and like I said, a fellow alum of Marywood, and now him and I get to talk about baseball every Tuesday night.
That's fun. That's good. Now I know you can be on.
With that being said, why don't we start there? As one season is winding down, two others are winding up. And so we'll speak where some teams are winding up when we get to that as well. PJ, bring us in. We're going to start with baseball today and the Major League Baseball realm. And I know there's a lot of different things you wanted to talk about, from MVP to Cy Young to Manager of the Year. So we'll get to those in a second. Let's first jump to where things are at, in your opinion, with the MVP race in the AL and the MVP race in the NL, which Brendan and I talked about this a bit on Designated Diamonds, and now PJ and I are going to continue the conversation. So what do you think about the MVP races?
Well, the MVP races are actually pretty tight. The national MVP, Fernando Tatis really had a large lead for most of the year, but he's cooled off. Plus, he's a little bit of a jerk. He got in an argument with one of his teammates, Manny Machado, about probably not hustling. He's just a young kid. He's got to mature a little bit, and he really had the lead. So did Juan Soto from Washington, was right there with him too. But the guy that's jumped up is taking over is Bryce Harper from Philadelphia. He used to be with Washington. Bryce Harper is turning into the kind of player that I thought he should have been 5 years ago when he was shown on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a 16-year-old. He didn't even finish high school. He did his GED, got his degree, went to junior college for a year, jumped right into the baseball as an 18-year-old. He's a hell of a talent. He's hitting .313 this year with 33 homers and 80 RBIs. If he stays that way for another week and Philadelphia somehow squeezes into the playoffs, then he should be the MVP. I think so, in my opinion. American League, what can you say about Ohtani from the Angels? He's just an extraordinary athlete. Someone as big and tall and strong and fast as he is can pitch and hit and play the field. He's amazing. I said I've never seen anyone like him since Mickey Mantle when I was growing up with playing. I mean, he certainly is not a Mickey Mantle, but he's got a chance to be pretty close to it. He's an extraordinary athlete. I think he's something like 12-4, and ERA is a little over 3. Strikes out one every other guy. Amazing talent. But I think the leader as of the last week is Guerrero from Toronto. He's another young kid whose father was a baseball player. You know, I just for the grins last night, I wanted to watch the whole game, and I did, because I have the MLB package thanks to MP. And I watched the Tampa Bay and Toronto play last night, and he's a chunky little guy. He's not the quickest guy. He's not the most nimblest guy, but he plays a decent first base. He could be a lot better. I think he needs to lose a little weight, but damn, can he hit? Geez, that kid can hit. My goodness. Toronto was getting stung last night by the Rays pitching, and this kid winds up 3 for 4. He's amazing. I think he's got a chance. Listen to this, Daniel. He's got a chance to be the Triple Crown in the American League, which means you got to hit. You got to hit for average. You got to lead in home runs and lead in RBIs. And as of last night, I think my data isn't up to date, but he's hitting .321 with 46 homers and 105 RBIs, and he was 3 for 4 last night, so his average is going to go up. If he stays, like say 1 for 3 or 1 for 4 for the rest of the games, he may have a chance to be a Triple Crown winner. Extremely rare. I think the last person in the American League was Miguel Cabrera from Detroit. That was years ago. But this kid is that talented. And right behind him is Marcus Stroman, who played a hell of a game for Toronto. He came from Oakland. I don't know how Oakland let him go, but this guy 2 years ago was almost an MVP, and he's close again this year. He's an extraordinary player. I think he's hitting. Let me see what he's hitting now. He's hitting .268 with 41 homers and 95 RBIs. And this guy is the real deal. Hell of a player. So you got it there, it's National League, American League, that's still a little fluid, but it's okay. The Cy Young Award winner is a little bit difficult to figure because there's so much that goes into being a Cy Young Award winner. You have to have a good ERA, you have a good won and loss record, have a lot of strikeouts out, yada yada, bunch of stuff like that. But let me start with the National League Cy Young Award. I think, in my opinion, the person that leads it now is Walker Buehler from the Dodgers, and this kid a couple years ago was prognosticated to be many Cy Young Award winners. He's that good. He's tall, he's strong, he's got a wicked curveball, nasty slider. He's got it all. I think he's something like 14-2 or 14-3 or something like that. Next, I got in line. I got Corbin Burns from my team, the Brewers. The Brewers wouldn't be anywhere without Burns and Brandon Woodruff, and they're going to win their division and actually go to the playoffs because of those two guys. And Burns is a little bit better right now. Gossman is right there, but the sleeper really isn't a sleeper because he every year he's a hell of a pitcher. I don't care where he pitches at. It's Max Scherzer. And Scherzer came to the Dodgers. I don't know how they got him. I know they got Trey Turner from Washington. They got Scherzer from Washington. I guess they gave up a bunch of draft picks, but you don't trade a guy like Max Scherzer if you're trying to win a pennant. I mean, the guy, since he got to Los Angeles, he's been almost unhittable. He's 15-4 this year with a 2.08 ERA. He's 7-0 since he joined the Dodgers, and 1.05 or something like that ERA. He's damn near unhittable, and he's great to watch. He's funny to watch. There's a little story I like to say about when he first came to the Dodgers. Dave Roberts is the manager for them, and Roberts is an old school guy, and he walked by Max and gave him a little bump in the ass, and he said, "Hey, good game," and he hears this mumbling, "Get away from me," surprised Roberts. So Roberts went back and talked to some other guys. He says, "What's up with him? I just wanted to arrest him." He says, "Hey," they said, "when Max pitches, leave him alone. Don't talk to him. Don't go near him. Don't touch him. Don't do anything." And he learned the lesson there. But Max Scherzer probably could steal the whole thing. He should, but he probably won't because Buehler, Clayton Kershaw, and Scherzer on the Dodgers, they're my World Series team. I love them to death. Cy Young Award winner in the American League is, my opinion, is Garrett Cole of the Yankees because without him, they wouldn't be anywhere. They're struggling to get a wild card. I don't think they're going to make it. Cole is 15-8 with a 3.03 ERA. He got pounded the last time he pitched. He's probably tired. There's another guy, Liam Hendricks from the White Sox, who's 8-3, 2.77 ERA with 34 saves. Relievers typically don't win this type of award unless you're like maybe Josh Hader of the Brewers, who is scary. I like Cole mainly because he put Yankees on his back and it carried him thus far. Now, managers. This is also open for discussion too. I've always liked Dave Roberts. He's won it before of the Dodgers. He even though he's got the best talent, he still gets them all to win. He still gets them all to play well. Schnitker from the Atlanta Braves deserves some consideration too because he's going to make the playoffs also. So it's really between those two guys. American League, there's two guys to stick out. One of them, Tony La Russa of the White Sox, who came out of retirement as a 77-year-old, and I'm 75, without a voice. 77 years old, and wanted to manage again, and he manages a bunch of young, aggressive players. He's done a hell of a job with them. It's difficult for a player or a manager who was a player also, La Russa, to be in touch with the younger generation. They're just so different on the baseball field, but he managed to keep it together. Of course, my favorite guy is Kevin Cash of Tampa Bay. Every year, Tampa somehow scrapes together unknown players to win. Kevin Cash is responsible for that. I like him up front of Tarauso, of La Russa, so we'll see where it goes. That's sort of it, Daniel. There's no. I know I say it's a fluid situation. Not so much with managers because they need to be there all year long and what they've done because they're under a microscope, especially La Russa. who came in off. I don't know. He hasn't been in a baseball uniform in 10 or 12 years. So, but he came in and he did the job. So that's it.
Yeah, and looking at this, and like you brought up here, we went from the Major League Baseball AL MVP, NL MVP thoughts, AL MVP thoughts, and then Cy Young in the NL and Cy Young in the AL, and then went into the managers here with Papa Joe this morning and having these conversations about each of these three areas in the two leagues. If you had to choose feet to the fire, and I talked about this at Designated Diamonds this week with Brendan Murphy, and you can check it out by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Is Bryce Harper for you? I mean, does he have it? Does he have the MVP in the National League?
He's ahead. He's never been given the consideration before because, frankly, I think he's underperformed. When he was Washington and they let him go to Philadelphia, he came into the league as a phenom, and it's sort of overwhelmed to begin with. I mean, he's always been a good hitter, runs the field well, plays a good defense. But he's been in the league almost 10 years now. It's amazing that I remember him being on Sports Illustrated cover, and he looked like a man then. He was only 16 years old. I think that Harper probably is in the lead. If he just sharpens his pencil a little bit, does a little bit better in the next week or so, maybe Philly can squeeze in to the playoffs. It's going to be because of him. He's a hell of a player, and he has a mentor on Philadelphia, which is Andrew McCutchen. Andrew McCutchen was an MVP years ago, and he still got it. 24 homers, 73 RBI. So, Harper listens to McCutchen in any situation where Bryce has a problem. He doesn't mind going and asking McCutchen, and I think that's a hell of a deal. So I would say that Harper is in the lead right now.
You what?
What does Brendan say?
Brendan said Bryce Harper. We had the conversation about it. We were talking about him by the numbers and looking at his numbers back when he won the MVP when he was a part of the Washington Nationals before joining the Phillies in the same division of the NL East. When he was with the Washington Nationals, the year that he did win it, he had 118 runs. He currently has 95. Back, he had 172 hits in 2015 when he won the MVP. This year, he's 143. He had 42 home runs. This year, he has 33. He had 99 RBIs. This year, he has 80. And then his OBP was 46%. Back in 2015, it's 43.1 now. His slug was 64.9 at 62.1, and his OPS was 1.109, and it's 1.051 right now. So his numbers, very close. He obviously had a little bit better numbers in 2015, but he still has, good numbers now at the age of 28. When he won the MVP, he was 22 years old, and now at 28, he's in the running to do it again. So, that's kind of him by the numbers as opposed to a few years back, 6 years ago when he won it. But that's where Bryce Harper currently stands. And we talked about Fernando Tatis, that he could be up for it as well. But he thought that Harper would come away with it. And, Harper, as of right now, that's what he has by the numbers. You said in the in the American League, you think it's Shohei Ohtani. Is there anybody close to Ohtani at this point, even though the Angels are out of contention? Is there anybody close to Ohtani that could take the AL MVP away from him?
Oh, it's got to be Guerrero. I know he's awful young, and he acts like a goofy kid out there in the field. But you can't take the statistics away from him. I mean, he's an extraordinary hitter. I mean, he's tough to get out. I mean, he's batting .321 more than that after last night. 46 homers, 105 RBIs. He's actually carrying Toronto, him and Seaman. So, if you're a baseball purist like I am, I want to see Ohtani win it because of what he can bring to every day. He's got something to bring to the ballpark. Whether he pitches every fifth day or he plays designated hitter and hits every day, or he occasionally plays in the outfield. If Ohtani. Actually, it's funny. I watched a clip on him this morning. He was tagging up on a fly ball in foul territory, and the guy caught the ball, and Ohtani broke the home from third, and he was going so fast that he missed home plate, and he turned around to tag the home plate, and the guy tagged him out. So that was kind of an error on his part. But he doesn't make too many errors at all. He's nasty to try to hit from. So as a baseball purist, I'd like to see him get it.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, what can happen here. As I'm very, very excited to see these races kind of come down the stretch here. Ohtani potentially in the AL with Guerrero behind him, according to PJ, and Bryce Harper there with potentially a guy like Fernando Tatis Jr. behind him.
Clarify something on Harper. He's I said that he underperformed. I think he still underperforms. I still think he could be a lot better. And when he came into the league as a kid, he was very determined to do well. He sometimes he just doesn't have it, and I don't know why that is. I mean, he certainly is an extraordinary talent in his own right, and I still think, even though he won the MVP, he's still underperforming in my opinion. Someone like him that plays as well as he does and hits as well as he does should do better than that. And I would expect that in his late 20s and his early 30s, he'll do a little bit better.
Coming here from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Cubal studios, where sports meets life is where things stand right now. PJ, to go back to your Cy Young, who do you think, if you had to put your feet to the fire right now, I know you brought up some guys in the NL and the AL, if you had to pick right now, I know you picked Garrett Cole in the AL, but in the NL, I have two questions. Who would you pick in the National League right now? And if Jacob deGrom was playing and he was healthy, would you have picked him?
DeGrom is sensational. DeGrom doesn't come along once in a lifetime when you have a pitcher like him. Not only can he pitch, he can hit too. DeGrom, I'm really sad to see him go out because I would turn on the Mets just to watch him pitch. I didn't care about the game, just to watch him pitch. It's too bad because he probably could have locked this thing up. That's a good question, Daniel, because there's so many guys that are right up there. On good teams that are winning. But I think that Buehler and Scherzer being on the Dodgers, and the Dodgers being as good as they're playing right now, and are leading everything, really, in my opinion, I'm going to have to say Buehler. Okay. Scherzer joined the team later. He got to combine his records, and he's 15-4, 2.08. Combine his record for the whole year, which is outstanding. It's outstanding. There's nothing wrong with it. But Walker Buehler is another one of these kids that signed when he was a kid. He's still a kid. He's still a young man, and there was a lot of. He's got a lot on his plate when he first came on in the league, and he's now starting to pitch like he belongs here. And I do believe that Buehler is probably going to nail it.
And so, you have Walker Buehler here for the Cy Young for the National League, and behind him Max Scherzer. And like you said, Max Scherzer came on later on in the season. Do you really think, are the Dodgers, in your opinion, is their rotation that good that number one and number two finish in Cy Young should be Buehler and Scherzer? Do you really think they have the two best pitchers in the National League besides a healthy Jacob deGrom?
Well, they have the four best pitchers in baseball right now. Yeah. You got Julio Urias, who is ERA is 3.10, 18-3 record. Walker Buehler, 14-4 record. 2.39 ERA. Kershaw, 10-7, 3.27 ERA, and Scherzer, 7-0 with a .078 ERA. Those four guys are going to win the World Series for the Nationals. I've always taught you or told you that you win with pitching and defense in the National League. In the American League, you pound the hell out of the ball and hope you have enough pitching to win 10-8. But the Dodgers, those four guys combined, will, in my opinion, be the favorite National League and favorite for the World Series, and I like them for the whole thing. So, those four guys alone, it's scary. You hate to face Los Angeles when you're facing guys like that.
Yeah, and like you said, the rotation, I asked you if they had the two best because you mentioned the two, and you said they have the four best. So,
four guys are awesome. Of course, there's other players in the league that are better too. And you got Kenley Jansen, who is the saves leader with 34 saves. He's got a 2.40. So you got 4 starting pitchers. You got Kenley Jansen as a reliever. How do you beat the Dodgers? That's how you don't beat the Dodgers if all 4 of these guys are pitching and pitching well, and you got Jansen in the bullpen. It's too much to ask for the National League. And Dave Roberts has a stacked team over there. I know they're battling with San Francisco for the pennant, but both teams have made the playoffs, and I like Los Angeles for it all.
Speaking here with Papa Joe inside the Cafe Kubal Studios in his normal post, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., but he's spending the entire show, the Papa Joe takeover today, with Major League Baseball, college football, and the NFL here inside the Cafe Kubal Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. PJ, how would you rank? If you had to rank these 4 pitchers, I think I kind of know 1 and 2 potentially, but if you had to rank the 4 Dodgers pitchers, number 1 that you would want on your team all the way to number 4, so the top 1 to number 4, how would you rank them?
You talking about the Dodgers or the whole thing here?
The Dodgers.
The Dodgers? Well, first I have to be Clayton Kershaw because he's earned his accolade. He is by far one of the premier pitchers in baseball and has been for a while. I know he's on the shelf a lot because he's got a lot of funky injuries, but when he's on, he's impossible to hit. I would have to say him, and then Buehler. Buehler and Scherzer probably for number 2, and Julio Urias number 4. But if Scherzer's on, he's unhittable, and that's the case with these guys. They're so good that they can carry a team even if they're in a slump. One of these guys is going to pull them out of the slump. I would have to say Kershaw, Scherzer, Buehler, and Urias.
Okay. That coming from PJ. PJ, we'll talk about the managers and break that down a little bit what Papa Joe said right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We'll take a fast break. Happy to be here with you. Appreciate you as always. And remember to spread positivity and love. And if you have to criticize something, be constructive, be there to help, and be there to actually want to see somebody excel and get better. Don't open your mouth unless it's to help somebody is basically what I'm trying to say. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back right after this where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. And we have a question to Papa Joe that'll be coming up right after this as well. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, where sports meets that thing called life, where you're listening, you're watching on Facebook.com/live-now-dt, as well as Facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on YouTube.com/wakeupcalldt, every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, as well as inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, and their giant behemoth of a brown-striped building that welcomes you into Manlius on 343 Fayette Street, and their newest location and first-ever drive-thru that is right there on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road, a.k.a. Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. So thank you to Cafe Kubal. Happy to be inside of the Cafe Kubal studios every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. One of my listeners says, Dan, how many ads have you done? A lot, brother. I work. So that's my answer to you. How many? Stacks on stacks. I love helping people and love working with different businesses. And so the answer is I don't know. But I love doing it, and I appreciate the fact that you listen to them, and I hope that you'll support local and go to these Central New York and Upstate New York partners. We have great ones here in our community, and so a shout-out to Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, Wildcat Sports Pub, Progressive Dental, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Avicoli's, as well as Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, the Millhouse Market, Pizza Man, the Lemoyne Dolphins, Honda City of Liverpool, PB&J's Lunchbox, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and Mother's Cupboard. Papa Joe, we had a question come in, so before we get back to the manager conversation, Johnny asked a question here. I want to get to Johnny's question. He said, should I or should I not trust James Robinson? James Robinson is the running back of the Jaguars, and Johnny has him on his fantasy football team. He wants to know, PJ, if he can trust the man to get him some points and run the rock well. What are your thoughts?
He's a great running back, even though he's only a second-year player. He came into the league last year as an undrafted free agent. He's accomplished more than I thought he would ever do. He's extremely good with the ball, safe with the ball. You don't have to worry about him fumbling. You know, he's small, but he's fast. He's tough. So, you know, as the Jaguars struggle last year and beginning of this year, the one thing you can count on, Bub, is that he's going to carry the rock. And I just hope they don't wear him down. I mean, I don't want to see him hurt, and I don't want to see him exhausted because we have no other weapons, you know. So to answer your question, yes, I trust him exclusively with the ball.
That coming from Papa Joe, and I was not asked, but I trust him too. Thank you. So, but I do. I trust James Robinson. That man.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is Hyde's hot dog still in Liverpool?
Yes.
Okay. Every time I have a hot dog, I think of them.
Yeah. Well, I could tell people that if you love Nathan's hot dogs, they are trash compared to Hyde's. They are garbage. I mean, I've like had a piece of a Nathan's hot dog, and I'm like, why do people talk about these? It's Hyde's or nothing. That's how I look at it. It's Hyde's or nothing. My listener here, Johnny, said, in Papa Joe I trust. So, good to know. So he trusts Papa Joe. Appreciate that very much. PJ, let's get back when we speaking on the managers of the year. Let's go back to it here. If you had to put your feet to the fire right now and you had to pick someone in the NL and pick somebody in the AL right now to win it, who would you pick for manager of the year?
Well, I know that Los Angeles is stacked, and they got they've got a couple of Cy Young Award winners there, and they got some Hall of Fame players. And, I just got to say that Dave Roberts does an extraordinary job managing the egos over there. I think that Roberts, the last 4 or 5 years, has led the MVP, or the manager talk just about every year. He's up there. So I would have to say Dave Roberts.
Okay. And for the and then where would you go in the American League?
You've heard me talk about the Tampa Bay Rays for years, and how they can patch together a team of unknown players and play well. And that's because of the manager. Kevin Cash used to be a player, wasn't a very good player, but he was a good player, played. And I'd have to say Kevin Cash, because he can, he started something that other teams are starting to pick up on now. He would just pitch a guy 1 or 2 innings. That's it. Start the game, forget about it. If you start the game, you pitch 1 or 2 innings, go to the next guy. You look at their box score, and they got 8 or 9 pitchers that are pitching. And he's doing that specifically because he wants to save arms for the postseason. And other teams are picking up on it now, which is not but again, I'm old school. I'm 75 years old. I'm old school. I want to see a pitcher pitch a game, complete the game. Pitch a shutout. Have 115 Ks or something like that. But pitch. I don't agree with it, but it's working for them, and that's how Kevin Cash is. And he started this trend, and other guys are picking up on it. So kudos to Kevin Cash.
So you got Kevin Cash on one side, and so looking at this, then you got the Dodgers running away with a lot of this stuff, and Tampa Bay kind of sneaking in something here. So for you, is Tampa Bay the real deal? We know that the Dodgers are. I think people believe that. I think that's I think that's a clear thing. So, what's your take on Tampa? Should we? I shouldn't say should we. What are the odds that you think we'll see Tampa at the end of all of this?
I've said it before. I've already said it a couple times on the broadcast today. They just put together a bunch of guys. They think over the winter. They pull a guy here. They buy a guy here for cheap. They pay this guy cheap. Before you know it, they got a bunch of players that actually can play well. But this year, they hit the ball a lot better than they have been. Pitching is, of course, their forte. But Brandon Lewis has 34 home runs and 86 RBIs. Austin Meadows, frankly, should be in the American League MVP race. But no one thinks of Tampa Bay. He's got 25 homers and 103 RBI. This is for a nondescript team. A nondescript team is beating the heck out of Boston and New York, and they're gonna, they got a chance to be there. I don't think that they'll make the series, but they'll certainly acquit themselves over the playoffs. But Austin Meadows is another one of these guys that, what happens in Tampa is this, and this has happened for years. Going back 10 years ago with Evan Longoria. She went back out again there. And these guys will have good years, and the management won't sign them. They'll sign with another team, and they'll do well in that team. Meanwhile, Tampa's got to start all over again, bringing these guys in and trying to make them ball players. Tampa has a what's it? Moneyball. They played Moneyball a little bit, the movie Moneyball, which I thought was kind of neat.
Yeah.
They'll be competitive, but I don't think they'll be the American League winner.
Now, PJ, you wanted to discuss. We were talking about it during the fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the Tampa Bay Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays game last night. Just what you could say about that game, because I know it's something you wanted to get into.
Well, this is typical of baseball over the years, and I like it, frankly. Two nights ago, Kevin Kermier, who is a center fielder for Tampa, he plays great center field, can catch anything. He wound up sliding into home plate. The big mess. Catcher was everywhere. His dirt was everywhere. He's all filthy and everything. All of a sudden, he sees a little piece of paper by home plate. So he takes it, sticks it in his pocket. So he goes in the dugout, and he shows it to the manager, shows it to the other guys. They say, "Where'd you get that?" He said, "I just found it at the whole plane. Came out of the catcher's back pocket." Well, that's a scouting review thing that players use now. You'll see that the pitchers will take their hat off and look inside their hat. Well, they got scouting reports on some of these players, and they didn't get it back. He kept it, so that pissed everyone off. Tampa Bay, the manager, the general manager, had to apologize to Toronto. Oh, he should have never done that. Meanwhile, Kermeyer says, "I wasn't giving it back. I kept it. It's part of the game." So what happens last night? Tampa was up 7-1, bottom in the eighth inning. Up comes Kermier. In comes the left-handed reliever, Burbick, I think is his name. First pitch, bam, whacks him right in the back. And all of a sudden, the dugouts empty out and people start swearing at each other. Umpires trying to maintain control, and Kermer's got to walk to first base. That's old school baseball right there. If you do something wrong, the next time someone comes up from the other team, you plunk them with a pitch.
Yeah.
And that's just the way baseball is. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, at least he hit him in the back and not in the head. So, they were retaliating for what he did. He stole that piece of paper, which he should have never done. He should have given it right back, maybe given it to the umpire. Let the umpire handle it. But no, he kept it. He said he wasn't giving it back. He says, okay. So the next night, he gets up to the plate and they plunk him. So that's baseball.
And do you like? I mean, I know you just talked about it a little bit here, but do you like the fact that there's always been kind of that immediate retaliation? Kind of the jail yard justice, so to speak, where they're like, okay, well, you did this, so we're going to do that. I mean, is that something that you think is fair? That baseball says, you hit one of our guys, or you did something to one of our guys, or you took this, so we're going to repay you, and we're going to even things out. And once we even things out, we're going to call it a truce.
That's true. That is true. Just talking about last night again. Of course, they threw the pitcher out. Then the pitching coach came out and started yelling at the umpire. They threw him out. So, Tampa loses a couple guys, but Toronto loses a couple guys. It's just part of baseball, Daniel. I don't have a problem with it. I just don't like to see anyone throw to the head. If you're going to hit a guy, hit him in the leg or the ankle or the back or something like that. Hit him in the butt or something like that. But, these guys have a feeling. They have a sense. When there's a little buzz in the dugout and you hear some talk on the other team in the field and stuff like that. And, they have a sense that if they're going to face a pitcher, they're going to get hit. And you sort of shy away a little bit. It's like trying to hit against Josh Hader when you're a left-hander. You sort of put your foot in the bucket because it comes from first base. And it's part of baseball. I like it. I think it's okay. I mean, the newfound people probably don't like it, but it's old school baseball, and I like that. I just don't want to see anyone throw to the head.
Yeah, and I get that, and I understand that, and I can respect that. I don't want to see anybody do that either. I don't want, you know what I mean? It's you kind of understand that it's coming, and I think that the players kind of understand that it's coming, but you don't want to do anything that's going to cause, someone to not be able to move forward in their life, that's going to injure them to a point where you don't want to injure somebody. That's the thing. and it's just not something that you want to see. I mean, jail yard justice is what we were talking about. That this is something that happens. So I mean, it happens. It's in baseball. It's kind of been approved over the years. It's kind of like in hockey where you could beat the hell out of each other and people are like, well, why can't you do it in any other sport? Hockey lets you go. Until somebody loses a couple teeth and starts bleeding, nobody stops them. Well, in baseball, if somebody hits somebody, then they hit you back and then you call it a day. The Houston Astros, for cheating, they got hit for 2 years. So, it's one of those things where people want to pay you back, so to speak. And, they allow certain stuff in baseball. They allow certain stuff in hockey. And then in basketball, you can't even touch someone with the tip of your pinky finger. It's a flagrant foul. So, it's just kind of weird. So I definitely appreciate all that sports brings to the world. But I would love to see a little more fairness in the world of sports because I don't always think that we get to see all of that. So, PJ, as we continue on the conversation here, so we have our managers of the year. Baseball, as it's winding down, before we jump in hour number 2 to a total wall-to-wall football for college football and the NFL, and then Papa Joe and I will make our college football Week 4 picks and our NFL Week 3 picks. Hard to believe it's already Week 3 in the NFL. So before we go there, I want to take a look at where we stand right now, and you can obviously give your rankings as well in this position, but I want to kind of just paint a little picture for everybody, let you know what the races look like. I talked about it a little bit earlier this week inside the Cafe Kubal studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, but just to give you an update here on September 23rd morning as we take a look at who's in, who's still in the running, and who is definitely out. I'm going to go down the line here, and then PJ, you can give me your thoughts on how you think these playoffs might end up here. We have in the American League, Tampa Bay clinched last night. The Red Sox and the Yankees and the Blue Jays are still alive. The Baltimore Orioles have been eliminated in the AL East. In the AL Central, the only 2 teams still alive are the Chicago White Sox and the Cleveland Indians. The Detroit Tigers, Kansas City Royals, and Minnesota Twins have all been eliminated. In the AL West, the Astros, the Mariners, and the Athletics are still alive. The Los Angeles Angels, sans Mike Trout, but with Shohei Ohtani, they are eliminated. Texas Rangers are also eliminated. In the National League, the Atlanta Braves, Philadelphia Phillies, and New York Mets are still alive. The Miami Marlins have been eliminated, and the Washington Nationals have allowed the Miami Marlins to rise out of the basement of the National League where they spent most of this season, as the Nationals are now the worst team in the National League East. In the National League Central, the Milwaukee Brewers have clinched their division, but St. Louis Cardinals and Cincinnati Reds are still alive. The Chicago Cubs and the Pittsburgh Pirates have been eliminated. And in the West, the San Francisco Giants and the Los Angeles Dodgers have already secured, these teams have not secured their division yet. I apologize. They secured a playoff spot. So Milwaukee secured a playoff spot. San Fran and Los Angeles Dodgers secured playoff spots, but have not decided the division. At the time we're talking, the Dodgers are 2 games behind the Giants. The Padres and the Colorado Rockies have somehow, someway not been eliminated from playoff contention, but the Arizona Diamondbacks are with 51 games behind. So in some idiotic world, the Padres and the Rockies still have like a day to get after it. But what are your thoughts, PJ? We know that the NL East has nobody declared for the playoffs. The NL West has nobody, the AL West has nobody declared for the playoffs. The NL Central has nobody declared for the playoffs, but we know the Rays are going, we know the Brewers are going, the Giants, and the Dodgers. So only 4 teams have taken up playoff spots, and everything else is still open right now.
Well, looking at the AL East, Boston and Toronto and New York are all battling, like you said, but they're only a couple games from being eliminated by the formulas they're using. Boston, to me, they are so good at hitting the ball and scoring runs that I think that, being respectful to the other American League teams like Chicago White Sox and Houston, I do believe that Boston probably has enough firepower to hit themselves into the World Series. And that's the kind of series I want to see. I want to see pitching-rich Dodgers against a hitting-rich Boston. Boston is led by Devers, has got 34 homers, 105 RBIs. Hunter Renfroe has 28 homers and 91 RBIs. J.D. Martinez, who's the best player on the team, has 27 homers, 94 RBIs. Xander Bogaerts has 23 homers and 79 RBIs. Bobby Dahlbeck, 23 homers and 76 RBIs. Those guys are murderers row right there. There's 5 guys. You can't get out every single game. Someone's gonna nick you. And I think that Boston has enough talent to carry themselves even through the playoffs. If Chris Sale comes back and pitches the way he's been doing since he had arm surgery, he's 4-0 with a 2.40 ERA. They do need pitching, obviously. If Chris Sale can pitch just a little bit and Boston can hit a lot, then perhaps maybe they should go through. I like Boston in the AL East. AL Central, we got the White Sox, who's got Liam Hendricks as a reliever. A lot of good players. Jose Abreu, who always leads with homers and RBIs. Tim Anderson's one of the best shortstops in baseball. But I don't see anyone from this division going anywhere. American League West, you got Houston. The old Houston used to have a core of good players that they had all the time. Now they got Altuve, who is still playing very well. 280 batting average, 29 homers, 79 RBI. Carlos Carrera, who's a great shortstop, 285 average, 24 homers, 87 RBIs. Yuri Gurriel, 319 average, 14 homers, 76 RBIs. Those guys probably will carry Houston, but I don't think they're better than Boston. So I don't care what happens in the wild card with these guys. Oakland and Seattle are 4 games from being eliminated. Really, the American League Central is already gone. I mean, Chicago should clinch, and Cleveland and Detroit are not going to get anywhere. And it's going to be up to the big teams at the AL East, and Boston, to me, looks like they'll be the best.
Yeah, and so, I mean, this, as it comes down the stretch, this is an exciting time. I've said it before, 162 games is so many, and I feel like as I get older, maybe I'm a little more open to it, but I'm like, geez, it's just such a long season. But now as we come down the stretch and we see this, we could get excited about what's going to happen here. In the American League, like you're talking about, the Red Sox are at the top of the contention for the wild card. Yankees right behind them, then the Blue Jays and the Mariners, then the A's, and so on and so forth. In the National League, the Dodgers way ahead with the St. Louis Cardinals, the Cincinnati Reds, the Phillies, the Padres, the Mets. And it's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me to see how far the Padres are down in their division, how much they're chasing the NL West leaders, the Giants and the Dodgers. But they're still in contention for the wild card. They're 6 games back. They're in front of the Mets, who are 9.5 games back. So sometimes in your division you look awful, but overall in the National League, they're in the top 5 for the wild card. So, and the Dodgers are so far ahead and far and away. What do you think about the fact that the Dodgers could be playing in a do-or-die situation, as good as they are, and as many people think they can make the World Series, and I picked them to make it to the World Series this year before the season started, which I'm sure probably many have. How do you feel about the fact that if the Giants win the division, the Dodgers could be in a do-or-die situation, and like arguably the best team in baseball could be bumped out?
Well, they're still battling San Francisco for the lead, so that's a fluid situation. That could go down to the last couple games of the season.
Yeah.
It's not really fair, is it? But, like I stated with L.A. before, they got 4 top-flight starting pitchers, and they got one of the best relievers in baseball. So they shouldn't be afraid. I mean, if I was afraid, I'd be at San Francisco's afraid, because they don't have the pitching that L.A. does. They got the hitting with Posey and Belt and Brandon Crawford, Evan Longoria, but they don't have what L.A. has. So I really think that L.A. is going to win that division, and San Francisco is going to be one that's going to be playing for the wild card.
Yeah, we will see. Remember what it says on the Giants' website, resilience, and they have been resilient, and down the stretch here, they have done an amazing job to be where they are and be in front of who many feel is the best team in baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers. We're going to shift gears here, Papa Joe, and jump into college football and the NFL after this fast break. So PJ and I with plenty coming up right after this, where sports meets that thing called life inside the Cafe Kubal studios. Follow us back, as in hour 2, we will talk college football and the NFL and make our college football Week 4 picks and our NFL Week 3 picks. We appreciate you as always. Send in your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and just remember 2 rules on Wake Up Call. Be respectful and justify your opinion, and we'll talk about it. Coming up next.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecubal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpazsnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make your way out there Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. We appreciate everybody that goes out and supports local at the Millhouse Market, where you can go inside of their general store, where they have local products from local companies. They pay it forward and help out companies all throughout the area, and I appreciate them so much for what they do for the companies in the area. Make sure you head out to the Millhouse Market and see everything that they have in the store, from local honeys and syrups and different rubs for, when you're making, cooking at home and whatnot, as well as children's toys and soaps and so much more. Definitely appreciate the Millhouse Market, and of course their fantastic menu of homemade breads, desserts, quinoa bowls, rice bowls, salads, brick oven pizzas, and sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski, ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds. The Millhouse Market, be it a mile or 30 miles away, it is absolutely positively worth the drive every time. When somebody comes into town, this is one of the places when they say, I want Central New York, I want authentic, you bring them to the Millhouse Market on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Thanks to Rebecca Alford and her entire team at the Millhouse Market, who works tirelessly to serve you in the general store, the indoor dining in their restaurant, as well as in their drive-through window where you could grab your food and go. Download the app today on the Google Play or Apple App Store. And of course, remember, every weekend, the bistro menu changes for the restaurant. So every single weekend of the year when you go to Millhouse Market and you dine inside in the restaurant on the weekends, you'll get a different menu every single week, which is really cool. So make sure you go check it out. With that being said, Papa Joe is here with us wall to wall today inside of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here inside the Cafe Kubal studios. We thank you so much for being here and very much appreciate the fact that you're here with us. And PJ and I talked baseball in hour one. We're going to stay on the field but go to a different one and talk football in hour number two. PJ, let's jump first into college football. And I'd love to get your thoughts on where college football is at right now. I'm going to read off to you the rankings currently of college football in the AP and the coaches poll top 10. And I want to hear if you agree or disagree and why. Number one in both polls, Alabama. Number two, Georgia. I'll give the AP first because it's going to change a little bit. So number one, Alabama. 2, Georgia. 3, Oregon. 4, Oklahoma. 5, Iowa. 6, Penn State. 7, Texas A&M. 8, Cincinnati. 9, Clemson. 10, Ohio State. That is in the AP top 25. In the coaches poll, we have Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Oregon, Texas A&M, Iowa, Clemson, Penn State, Cincinnati, Notre Dame. So we have a different thing here. Notre Dame is number 10 in the coaches poll. They're number 12 in the AP. Cincinnati drops one spot in the coaches poll from the AP. Penn State goes from 6 to 8. Clemson goes from 9 to 7. Iowa goes from 5 to 6. Texas A&M goes from 7 to 5. And Oregon and Oklahoma swap spots from the AP 3 and 4 for Oregon, Oklahoma, respectively. Oklahoma gets put above them in the coaches poll. Agree or disagree with the nation's top 10?
Oh, there's some conjecture there, of course. I think I like Oregon a little bit better than Oklahoma because Oregon I called it, they beat Ohio State, and they're a good team, a really good team. I think that they could probably beat Oklahoma heads up. I was impressed with Penn State, the game they played this last weekend against Auburn. I didn't think they could win the game, frankly, and I didn't pick them. But they are to be congratulated on their standing. Texas A&M is a little enigma for me. At Jimbo Fisher's boy over there, I think they're ranked a little bit higher than they should be. I think they should be down in the early teens. Cincinnati is going to be there. Clemson is really overrated this year, and Ohio State, as usual, is overrated. So I'd like to see my Gators at number 10. But there's some teams that you can quarrel with in the top 10.
Yeah, and I think, obviously this is something that's up for discussion all the time, the rankings and what the thoughts are. Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, Oklahoma, Iowa, Penn State, Texas A&M, Cincinnati are all undefeated, and Clemson and Ohio State are in there at 2-1. Ole Miss is 3-0, and they're 13 in both polls. BYU is 3-0, Arkansas is 3-0, Coastal Carolina is 3-0, Michigan State are 3-0, Kansas State is 3-0, and all of those teams, Oklahoma State's 3-0, and those teams are not included in the top 10. Despite being undefeated at this time. So Florida is number 11 in both polls. They're 2-1. Agree or disagree? Florida did not move in the AP. They stayed at 11 with a record of 2-1. The coaches poll dropped them 2 spots this week from number 9 to number 11. The coaches poll dropped them out of the top 10. What are your thoughts on Florida being ranked number 11th in the country, as you are a proud Gator? So what are your thoughts as them being right outside of the top 10? And do you agree or disagree that they should have dropped in the coaches poll after losing to the number 1 team in the country, Alabama, in Gainesville by just 2 points, 31-29?
Well, they shouldn't have dropped at all. I mean, if the coaches looked at that ball game, they would understand. It was the best game that's played this year, period. And probably going to be the best game going forward. It was an end of the year game between a couple of hard-knocking teams, and I think that Florida exposed a weakness of Alabama, which it's hard to do, frankly, and that's running the ball. After Florida got shot there 21-3 to begin with. They decided to take over the line of scrimmage, and they ran the hell out of the football. They ran for 250-something yards against Alabama. Try that a few times. So I think there's a little weakness with Alabama, but Florida played their hearts out. They should have won the game. The 2-point conversion was supposed to be, Emory Jones was supposed to fake off to Pierce and then follow him into the hole, but Pierce held the ball instead of Emory Jones taking it out of his gut. So that sort of screwed up the 2-point conversion, and who knows what would have happened. But definitely Florida played the game of the year. They beat Alabama in the second half and beat them bad. So Florida, Frank, of course I'm a Gator. I mean, I went to school there. I'm biased that way. Florida should be in the top 10, period.
Yeah, in seeing, I think when you play the number one team in the country, listen, not many people beat Alabama, if anybody beats Alabama, throughout, 15 games in a season. So with that being known, I think it's really hard to say that the Gators play Alabama and lose by 2 in an instant classic, and somehow that says something bad about them. Jace McClellan had a 7-yard pass from Bryce Young to start off the game for Alabama, not even 4 minutes into the game. Then Chris Howard had a field goal to get Florida on the board, 7-3. They were down. And then Jaleel Billingsley scored a touchdown from Bryce Young 26 yards away. And then Brian Robinson Jr. got one from 7 yards away to put up Alabama 21-3 in the first quarter. In the second quarter, Florida scored, and the defense shut out Alabama. A Malik Davis 26-yard run made it 21-9 as the point-after attempt failed by Chris Howard. Then in the third quarter, Dameon Pierce was the first to score for either team. He got Florida on the board, made it 21-16. Now it's less than a touchdown to separation, and that's at the 10-20 mark of the third quarter. Brian Robinson Jr. has a 3-yard run after that, about almost 6 minutes after that, made it 26-18 Alabama. And then Emory Jones has a 5-yard run with 29 seconds left in the third quarter. He makes it 28-23, and a field goal by Will Reichard 24 yards away made it 31-23. And then we see Dameon Pierce's 17-yard run to make it 31-29, and the 2-point conversion failed. I don't know how looking at this entire game and knowing that Florida was down 21-3 and 21-9 at halftime and fought all the way back in the third quarter, had 2 of the 3 touchdowns scored, and then had the game 31-29, and if they had the 2-point conversion, which is not an easy thing to do, would have made it 31 apiece. I don't know with 3:10 left how you say Florida deserves to drop out of the top 10 when they pushed the number one team in the country to the brink, and the only reason why they lost by 2 is because they missed a 2-point conversion, which many teams, I feel like people miss them more than they make them, which is why you don't usually do them. Florida lost this game at home because of a 2-point conversion not forcing overtime, arguably. So I don't understand how you say, number one team in the nation, Nick Saban and company, go into Gainesville, and the Gators lose by 2 because they miss a 2-point conversion after being in a position to tie the game with 3:10 left to play. I have no idea why. This might be the best game that Alabama sees all year. How does this constitute not being good enough to be in the top 10?
Well, and you echo my points, of course. Now, listen, Florida beat Alabama on the line of scrimmage the entire second half. You SEC haters out there, listen to what I just said. They beat Alabama on the line of scrimmage in the second half. They pushed them all over the field, scored touchdowns running the ball. Emory Jones finally played the game that I think Emory Jones should play. It was a classic game. I was heartbroken that they lost it. But let's face it. Alabama, Nick Saban has a way of willing these kids to play a little bit better. But I tell you, he got his ass whipped in the second half. So, the other teams are looking. Maybe, Georgia's looking, Arkansas's looking, Mississippi State's looking. Well, hell, Florida ran the ball like that. Let's see if we can do that. But they don't have a bevy of running backs like Florida's got. Florida's got 2 5-star running backs that haven't even contributed yet. Lorenzo Lingard and DeMarcus Bowman, these guys are killers. And they can't even make the starting lineup because Damian Pierce and his crew are running the ball so well. Alabama won, certainly. Florida lost. I mean, that's the way the coaches look at it. That's the way the other people look at it when they do these polls. But you got to watch these games. You got to watch these games close to find out what's happening.
Yeah, and you have to look at like who's moving up in the polls and like what who's above Florida. When we look at the rankings, because Alabama, of course, okay, they beat Florida, makes sense. They're 3-0, and then we look at Georgia and we say, okay, what has Georgia done? Well, they beat Clemson when Clemson was third in the country. Then they beat UAB and South Carolina, 2 unranked teams. So I look at that and I say, okay, Georgia, besides beating Clemson, I mean, I respect UAB for sure, but what did you do that was so crazy good to put you at number 2 in the nation? Then I look, and this is looking at them in relation to Florida. Then I look at Oregon and I say, okay, Pac-12 has been kind of not that great and over the years, and they went into Ohio State and beat Ohio State by a touchdown. Then they played Fresno State and Stony Brook. So, really their big win is Ohio State, and that is a big win out of conference. So I give them props for that, and I say, okay, Oregon, I can understand why you're up here and being ranked pretty high. Then I look at Oklahoma, and I say, okay, what has Oklahoma done? They beat Tulane barely at home in Oklahoma. And Tulane's no joke, but maybe Oklahoma thought they were. Who knows? But Tulane pushed them to the brink and had an opportunity to win with like 2 minutes remaining. Then they defeated Western Carolina, and they barely beat Nebraska 23-16, and that's been a dumpster fire since Scott Frost got there. So Oklahoma has proven me nothing to be in the top 4. Then I look at Iowa and I say, okay, what's Iowa done? They beat Indiana when they were ranked. Okay. They beat Iowa State on the road when they were ranked. Okay. And they lost to Kent State. Okay. So, a little more respect for Iowa. I can see that. I can understand that. So then we go from Iowa down the line here, and I look at Penn State, and I go, okay, Penn State's 3-0. What's Penn State done? Well, Penn State beat Washington when they were 12th in the country on the road, 16-10. All right. They beat Ball State. They blew them out. Should have happened. And then they were down to Auburn, beat Auburn at home, came back and won that game 28-20. Okay. So Penn State, good for you. Happy for you. Number 6 in the country in the AP. I can roll with you on this. Texas A&M, 3-0. All right, well, what's Texas A&M done? They defeated Kent State. I don't care. They defeated Colorado. I don't care. And they defeated New Mexico. I really don't care. So that has done nothing for me. And they barely beat Colorado 10-7. Anywho, Cincinnati, with my guy Luke Fickell. What has Cincinnati done? They beat Miami of Ohio. Okay. That's a game for them that's a rivalry in Ohio. Murray State, whatever. Indiana's not ranked anymore. They beat them. Okay. That's no reason to be above Florida by any stretch of the imagination. Even though I love Cincinnati, I can't put them above Florida and argue that. Non-ranked, non-ranked, non-ranked. And then I look at Clemson and I say, okay, what's Clemson done? Well, Clemson lost to Georgia 10-3. Okay. They beat South Carolina State 49-3, which they should do. And they barely beat Georgia Tech, who lost a home game earlier on in the season that makes you scratch your head and say, what in the hell is happening in Georgia Tech? So you barely beat Georgia Tech, who lost to Northern Illinois at home to start off the season. So with all due respect, Clemson, you do not deserve to be above Florida. And then I look at Ohio State and say, oh, well, I already know you lost to Oregon. What else did you do? You beat Minnesota on the road. Okay, they're somewhat reputable. And you blew out Tulsa 41-20. So I can argue very plainly by reading you what I just did. I can argue that Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Cincinnati, Clemson, and Ohio State don't deserve to be above Florida. So there you go, America. Why don't I get to vote in that poll? Huh? So
you make good arguments, Daniel. Good arguments. The only thing that surprises me is that Oklahoma's playing actually a little bit of defense this year. That's kind of scary to say that because they normally win 45-42 or something like that. But that game against Nebraska, and listen, I feel bad for Scott Frost. He's going to lose his job. Certainly not in the middle of the year, but he's going to lose his job. It's unfortunate because he's a great guy, All-American player, going back to his alma mater and can't win. Too much Spencer Rattler. I watched that game. That was a great game. I agree with everything you said. I was no slouch. Penn State, I think, is overrated. I said that last year. Texas A&M, I think, is overrated. Cincinnati is a wild card, but I got a feeling, Daniel, that you're going to lose your man Luke Fickell. I think, my opinion, this is just Papa J talking. I think he's going to take Southern Cal job myself. So Luke Fickell, and he may take it before the end of the year. I'm not sure, but he's a hell of a coach. He's won everywhere he's gone. Sensational, great coach. And don't be surprised if you lose him. And Clemson is just, like you say, a dumpster fire. They're a mess. I can't believe Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech used to run the ball 3 yards in a cloud of dust when Paul Johnson was there forever.
Yeah.
And something happened there. And Ohio State is overrated. Or Notre Dame's overrated. Ole Miss is a little bit of a stickler this year. They're going to surprise a lot of people, but you make some good points on 1 through 10 for Florida.
No, and I appreciate that. I mean, it is. I mean, and I would make that argument for anybody. Listen, show me where Clemson we lost to Georgia. Okay, defensive game. DJ's the outright starter for the first time ever in his career. Okay, he's going to struggle a little bit. All right, I thought he'd struggle in like 3 games. I didn't know if they'd necessarily lose him, but they lose the opening game of the season. Okay, whatever. They play South Carolina State. They blow them out. Fine. You barely beat Georgia Tech, who lost to Northern Illinois at home. It's like when I was sitting there with Notre Dame a few years ago, and they're like, they're 12-0. They need to make the college football playoff, and they let them in, and I'm sitting here going, who did they beat? Well, on paper, historic. I don't care about history. We're not doing a history lesson here. You can't say Notre Dame deserves to be in the college football playoff because Rudy is a great movie. I don't care. I like the movie, but that's got nothing to do with now. Well, they played USC. USC is usually good. Were they ranked? No. Okay. Who did they blow out? Florida State. Wasn't good that year. Who else did they blow out? Syracuse. Where was that? In South Bend. Who was the quarterback? Eric Dungy got hurt. It was a backup quarterback. Okay, so that game doesn't matter to me. Who did they almost lose to? Ball State and Vanderbilt. So I said, okay, let Notre Dame in. They're going to embarrass themselves and get blown out. And what happened? They got blown out. So look at the schedule. I fight with these rankings every year because it's stupid. Why are they there? And listen, I love Cincinnati, and I can't argue them above Florida. I can't. And I can't look at Texas A&M. They're basing Texas A&M. I believe they're basing their ranking on what they think they're going to be in the SEC. But they've played trash. So, I don't care. Like, Alabama beat Florida in a shootout. Instant classic. I recorded the game. And go watch it with some popcorn later for Ma and Pa's. That's a good game. But some of these other teams, I'm sitting here cross-eyed going, wait a minute. So if I played Citadel, Western Bumbletucky, and the New York University of Sisterhood, Brotherhoods of the Friars of America, I can be in the top 5? Well, that must be nice. It's funny to me that you don't put Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher in the dang college football playoff last year because they didn't deserve to be there, BS. But you put them in the top 7 right now when they've done nothing? So when they do something, they can't be in. But when they do nothing, they're respectable. And they're in the same conference as Florida. Well, Texas A&M, listen, I like you. And I'm a big fan of Jimbo. Hey, Jimbo. Hey, all right. I like Jimbo. But show me something that warrants putting you in the top 7, and we'll talk about it. Because I don't want somebody to, well, Dan, it's the SEC. Okay, then put Arkansas in the top 5. Put Vanderbilt in the top. Put Tennessee in the top 2. I mean, if that's your argument, then understand if your argument has holes, then bullets are going to fly through them. It's as simple as that.
You make good points. Everything you said is good. You're right. I mean, Florida certainly should be ranked above those guys. There was a major, Clemson has been a major disappointment to me, and I can't figure out what it is. I mean, Dabo Sweeney probably got to push some buttons there. I don't know what's going to get them going, but they better do something real quick because they could be out of this whole thing. Ohio State, I'd like to see Florida play Ohio State right now. Florida has an excellent running game, adequate passing game. They got a good defense. They play a very tough schedule. After Tennessee, they play LSU and so on and so on and so on. Then they got to play Georgia. So again, all you SEC haters out there, you got to listen to what we're talking about. If you don't win in the SEC, that doesn't mean you're not going to be rated, because one or two losses can be better than an undefeated team and somewhere else in the country. Now, there's a very good chance that Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Texas A&M, Mississippi, whatever, all of those teams got a very good chance of making the playoffs. And if they expand the playoffs even more, you're going to see more SEC teams. I know, Papa J, you're always talking the SEC. Look, all you got to do is watch television, and you'll see. You saw a classic football game played last Saturday that you probably won't see for the rest of the year. I mean, that's the way the game is played in the SEC. And the other teams are trying to catch up, which is fine. I'm all for that. Clemson's probably the only one in the last recent years that can do that. Notre Dame is Notre Dame, and Ohio State is Ohio State. I don't know. Notre Dame beat Florida State, which was ugly, barely by one point.
Yeah.
And what does FSU? FSU plays Wake Forest this last weekend, and I'm thinking, Mike Norvell's going to look good here. What happens? They get blown out 35-14. So maybe I'm thinking that FSU just doesn't have a chance this year, and I feel bad for Mike Norvell. He deserves the money. Leave the man alone. Let the man coach. Don't be over-exaggerate. Leave the man alone. Review him at the end of the year, but don't talk replace. That's what they're doing. They're talking replacing Mike Norvell over there already after 3 games. He's 0-3. Leave the man alone. Let him coach. So, Florida State is going to be always in the mix for something. They're always going to get good athletes, but you need a coach to coach them. I mean, you just can't have 5 and 4 stars, throw them on the field and think you're going to win. That doesn't work that way. So, the top 10 is just for talk. It doesn't lead anywhere. It just gives kids bulletin board material. You strut around campus saying I'm number one and then you read about yourself, but you got to play it on the field. So, let's talk about it seriously when it comes down to ranking teams after maybe the 5th and 6th game. Then we can really find out what's happening.
Yeah, in Notre Dame, here's the thing. You beat Florida State barely, and it took you the last moments of the game, overtime, and Florida State lost to Jacksonville State. And you...
I can't get over that one. I can't get over that game.
No, and you beat Toledo, and you beat Purdue. I don't care. You're ranked 12th in the country. You're right behind Florida. Why? You're going to play 3 ranked teams this year if they stay ranked. You're going to play Wisconsin, Cincinnati, and North Carolina. You don't play any other ranked teams. 9 out of 12 teams on your schedule are unranked. And some idiot at the end of this season is going to go, they're 12-0, they're 11-1. Oh my God, Notre Dame, I love them. Why? They go to the college football playoff and they get beaten down. They get run over. It's like watching a Looney Tunes cartoon and watching like Sylvester chase Tweety Bird and then just get hit by a truck. This is what Notre Dame looks like. Dan, their history. I don't care. Are the Yankees going to get into the playoffs this year because of their history? No, they have to win. Are the Cowboys going to get in because they're America's team? No, they have to win. Do the New York Knicks that play in arguably the greatest arena ever in Madison Square Garden, do they get in because they have a nice arena? No, they have to win. So Notre Dame, shout out to you in the Rudy movie. Notre Dame, shout out to your history. Notre Dame, shout out to your quarterbacks that used to make it in the NFL. But right now, Notre Dame, you beat nobody, and you're going to play other teams that are not ranked, 6 of them. You're going to play 3 that are. Big freaking whoop. I don't care. Show me on the field. Don't tell me about it in your thoughts, in your dreams. And just because there's enough padded pockets that love Notre Dame. Listen, I cheer on Notre Dame. I love watching Notre Dame. But I'm not sitting here saying Syracuse is going to the college football playoff. So, hello, let's be real about life. Notre Dame, you want to get in? Earn it. That's why we need 12 spots in the college football playoff. Because if you're going to stroke the ego of Notre Dame, I'm going to need a couple more spots to make me stomach what I have to watch. Because if I have to watch Notre Dame in the college football playoff anymore, I don't need to see 38-0. I don't need to see an embarrassing game. Can UCF score less than 0? No. Okay, well then I guess they should play 2. So, welcome to the party, Notre Dame. This is 2021. What you do this year should affect your ranking. What you did 52 years ago, I don't care about. I'll watch the movie, but in real life, I want to see what you're going to do in today's world. Please and thank you.
That's true. Well, they're going to be playing a tough team this week. Wisconsin is rolling into town. And Wisconsin, of course, likes to run the ball a lot also. So Wisconsin's 18, Notre Dame's 12. So let's see what happens. That's going to be a good game to watch. I'm probably going to watch that game. I like, of course, Florida's playing Auburn or Tennessee this weekend. And the game I want to see is Texas A&M and Arkansas. From what I've read and what I've seen, Arkansas's defense is much, much better than it's ever been. And they stop the run less than 50 yards a game. I'm looking for them to shut down Texas A&M. Going to be a good game to watch. Wisconsin, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Arkansas. There's probably some other games, but
yeah.
Getting back to poor FSU and Wake Forest, I thought FSU really had a chance to go into Wake Forest and win this game because they have better talent. I mean, let's face it. How many 5 and 4 stars are going to go to Wake Forest? Very few, if any. Just can't read about yourself. Worse this last week than they did against Jacksonville State, and I didn't even watch any of the game because it wasn't on. But the highlights showed it. FSU played a whale of a game against Notre Dame, against an overrated Notre Dame team. They could be much different at 2-0 playing Wake Forest than instead of 0-2. But they weren't. They are 0-2. Now they're 0-3. Yeah. And Wake Forest is better than I think we are, but we don't know just how bad FSU is. And again, I hate to be redundant. I feel bad for Mike Novara, but again, let me reiterate again, dude, leave the man alone. Let the man coach. Let him recruit. And, do your evaluations later on. Don't be talking all this junk during the year. Oh, we got rid of Willie Taggart after 3 or 4 games, and he stunk, and Mike Novell's going to stink, and they'll bring someone else in. Leave the man alone and let him coach.
Well, that's the thing. And I said this. They got to give him time. They don't want to give anybody time. They didn't even give Willie 2 years. They didn't want to give him any time. So, and I like Mike Norvell. And if you want to know the caliber of Mike Norvell as a coach, I don't know. Maybe you should check out this thing that's above college football. It's called the NFL. Some people watch it. And Memphis has numerous players in the NFL, including, I believe, 5 running backs, and each of them is either a starter or they're playing. The Kenneth Gainwells and the Antonio Gibsons and the Darrell Hendersons. Maybe, just maybe, Tony Pollard, who could be passing Ezekiel Elliott in Dallas as the starter. Just a thought here that if Mike knew what he was doing at Memphis, maybe, just maybe, give him a little bit of time at Florida State. Or kick him out the door and he'll go be successful somewhere else, because that's what he does. So, much respect to Mike Norvell and much appreciation. And Wake Forest, shout out to Dave Clawson for being 3-0 and doing his thing. By the way, Notre Dame later on this season will be playing Pete's Hot Dogs, and I'm excited to see how much they'll rise in the rankings after that. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break, and we'll be back right after this. PJ and I will give our NFL thoughts, and then we'll make our college football picks for Week 4 and our NFL picks for Week 3 coming up right after this fast break, where sports meets life.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, hanging out with you on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as wakeupcalldt.com, the two places where you're listening. You are watching and listening on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and facebook.com/livenowdt. So thank you for being here. Much appreciation. I do want to be clear. I respect and I appreciate all the teams I talk about. I'm calling a spade a spade. You know, I would say anything about if it was Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Syracuse, whoever, it's ridiculous what Notre Dame gets. I mean, like, they get house money every day. So it's like going to a casino and just losing money, and then the owner of the casino just giving you another $500 out of his pocket and going, that's fine, you don't have to play with your own money, and if you win it, you get to keep it, and if you lose it, you don't have to pay for it. So that's Notre Dame. So that's where we're at. PJ, we're going to go to the NFL in a second, but I want to make our college football picks. There's a bunch of games going on. There's 4 games under the Friday night lights. Middle Tennessee at Charlotte. Keep in mind, Charlotte beat Duke. Wake Forest at Virginia. That's going to be a good game on ESPN2 at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Liberty at Syracuse. That is going to... I never in a million years thought I'd be like, Independent Liberty is going to be a really good game against Syracuse. This is like the marquee game of the season so far. This could be arguably one of Syracuse's top 3 games of the year. Liberty at Syracuse. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the ACC Network. And UNLV at number 22 ranked Fresno State. So that's what's coming up Friday night. PJ, what are your thoughts on Wake Forest at Virginia?
Well, I think Wake Forest is on a big high right here after just destroying Florida State. I like Wake Forest in this game. They showed me a lot. I don't follow Wake Forest that much because they're really never competitive every year. But I don't know, boy, they looked awful good against Florida State, so I like them.
Yeah, I mean, Wake Forest definitely is in a place right now where they're riding a high. But again, I mean, this is a guy that I like, Dave Clawson. I'm a big Dave Clawson. I've been a Dave Clawson fan. So he said to me, that he told Wake Forest when he was applying for the job, if you're not going to give me time to build this program, don't hire me. I need the time. And I said about him and Dave Doran, I said the difference between them and Scott Schaefer is they got time. Clawson got time at Wake Forest. Doran got time at NC State. I'm like, if you want to know what Scott Schaefer could have been because of how well he was recruiting and his staff, and by the way, his staff is all over the country and they're very successful. You should check them out. They're on the show a lot too if you want to hear from them, thank God. But Schaefer, given the time, I believe he would be there. 7 wins, 8 wins. I believe he could have gotten the team there, but Syracuse didn't give him any time. William and Mary and Illinois have been beat by Virginia. They lost to North Carolina on the road 59-39. I'm going to rock with, even though this game is in Virginia, I'm going to agree with Papa Joe, and I'm going to rock with Wake to get this dub. I got Wake Forest over Virginia in this matchup as well on the road. Friday night, watch it on ESPN too. I know many of you will be watching the Syracuse game, so tape the game on ESPN or watch the first hour because it's at 7 and SU's at 8. Liberty at Syracuse, Papa Joe. Liberty came into the Dome last year. Thank God it wasn't in front of the fans. And Liberty, who's a 21st century football team, very young football team as far as how many years they've spent as a college football team, they come in as an independent school. They had never beaten an ACC team. They beat Syracuse for the first time, beating an ACC team for the first time. Syracuse will forever be in the history of the Liberty books as the first ACC school ever beat by the Liberty Flames. And then to go from there and add in the fact that after that they went on the road at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg and beat the second ACC team in their history. And then they went to NC State in Raleigh, North Carolina and lost to them by 1 point, 15-14. Hugh Freeze has Liberty back in the Dome this Friday. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I didn't get to see Syracuse at all last week because they played Albany. Was it Albany State?
Yeah,
I didn't even know what
University
the
of Albany.
score was. Yeah, probably got 1 million yards. Now Syracuse is the better team here. I think that they win big. I think that they run the ball well, and you can't tell much about an Albany State, but they did play well and they piled up a bunch of yards and scored a lot of points. So it makes the kids feel good. I don't care who it's against. So I like Syracuse there.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a big-time Friday night game. I think this is going to be an exciting game. And like I said, I never thought in a million years Liberty at Syracuse, I would think, wow, this could be a huge Friday Night Lights game. But the spotlight is on Cuse and Liberty, and I'm going to go with Cuse in this game as well. I think Liberty's going to give them hell, but I'm going to pick Syracuse to win this game. And I just see that. Greg wrote in and said, when I said Notre Dame's going to play Pete's Hot Dogs, he said, Pete's Hot Dogs are great. Newburgh, New York, check it out. There actually is a Pete's Hot Dogs. So that's cool. Thank you for that. He said he loves the theme of hot dogs today as well. I don't know how we got here, but we did. So I'm happy to be here with you guys. Next game that we have up here, Papa Joe, Notre Dame versus Wisconsin. I believe this game is in Chicago. Yes, it's at Soldier Field, the Chicago Bears' home. It might be the best game that Bears fans see all season. So Notre Dame is playing Wisconsin. What do you think?
Notre Dame better strap it up because Wisconsin's going to run the hell out of the ball. I look for them to control the line of scrimmage, and doing that, they're going to control the clock. I don't think much of Notre Dame's quarterback. I can't even think of his name right now. I know Wisconsin's quarterback used to be for Notre Dame, so what's going on there? I think Wisconsin wins this game.
Yeah, I'm going with Wisconsin in this matchup. I mean, Notre Dame this week would show me something, so let's see what you got. But and let's see if Wisconsin beats you and you're ranked 12 and Wisconsin's 18. Let's see if you drop to 13 and Wisconsin doesn't move, or they go like up to 14 or something like that. So
I'll eat crow if Notre Dame wins this game and wins it big. I'll accept my blame.
Yeah. I mean, like as it stands right now, my points to me are valid. But show me what you got, Notre Dame. You got Wisconsin on a neutral ground. Let's see what you got. Again, I don't care about what you did 12 years ago. I care about today. And you have Wisconsin on Saturday, and I want to see that game because you haven't played a team that's reputable to have you in the top 12 in the country right now. And that's the truth. And you know it, and I know it. So now you got Wisconsin. Let's see what you could do with Wisconsin. Next game up here, let's circle. There's some games. Oh, wow, there's some games this week that I'm looking at going, wow, okay. Texas A&M versus Arkansas. This game is going to be played in Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium. Another game on neutral field where Texas A&M, it's in the state of Texas, so it's kind of neutral, kind of not. Texas A&M will be playing Arkansas, and that'll be at Cowboys Stadium. What do you have for this one?
Well, I like Arkansas. Mainly, I told you earlier that their defense is really strong, especially against the run. And Arkansas is starting to wake up in the SEC West, and they're going to beat a bunch of teams this year. and they're going to beat Texas A&M this weekend.
Yeah, it's funny how Arkansas, I mean, wow, this team, have they, shown up lately. I mean, Arkansas was a footnote of the SEC, and now here they are, ranked in the nation's top 25, top 16 right now. And so this is a tough game for me. So PJ is going with Arkansas. And I'm going to trust my gut because my gut doesn't lead me wrong. And Jimbo, I appreciate you. I enjoy you. But I'm going with Arkansas too in this game. I'm picking Arkansas. So forgive me, Jimbo. Dan, I tell you, that James Winston, he's one hell of a player. But I'm going with Arkansas in the game. I got to go with my gut. My gut's telling me Arkansas, so I gotta go with Arkansas. How about this one, PJ? 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time this Saturday. For those of you playing the home game, it's Saturday, September 25th. The game is Clemson at NC State. NC State was picked by the media, the majority of us media that cover the ACC. They picked NC State to finish second. I picked them to, I think, finish fourth in the Atlantic Division. Clemson at NC State. What do you think?
This has got upset all over it, Daniel. This is major news here in the ACC. I like NC State here. Clemson hasn't shown me anything, and if I read right, I think they lost one of their defensive tackles yesterday to a season-ending injury. So NC State's the real deal this year. And we're going to find out just how good a coach Dabo Swinney is if he doesn't win this game.
Yeah, I'm going with NC State. NC State's home. They got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Clemson's more on their heels than NC State is. Clemson loses this game, Clemson is out of the college football playoff. And NC State, when Clemson has had a better team, NC State has pushed them to the brink multiple times. And there was a game where NC State missed like 1 or 2 field goals where they could have beaten Clemson. And it was on them, not on Clemson being great. It was on NC State having blunders. So I'm going to pick NC State because this Clemson team is more vulnerable than the ones that NC State almost beat. So I'm going to go NC State in this one. Next game up here we have Papa Joe. PJ is UCLA. UCLA, 24 ranked in the nation. They defeated LSU earlier on in the season at home. They're at Stanford this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the Pac-12 network. What do you think? UCLA at Stanford. Does Stanford win this game and try to push into the rankings, and does UCLA drop out, or does UCLA hold court? What do they do?
Well, I'm a big Chip Kelly fan, but I just think Stanford's a better team here. UCLA, he's clever. Chip Kelly's got all his plays. He's got a million plays. He does all this weird stuff on an offensive field, but I don't think he can play on defense. I think Stanford wins this game. This is a pick'em game, really. UCLA is a little bit overrated at their rank right now.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Stanford.
Yeah, I'm picking Stanford in this one as well. That's why I circled it. I'm going with this. So, and Greg just said our ballsy pick of the week is NC State over Clemson. So
That's it.
We'll see. We shall see. I made a ballsy pick a couple weeks ago with Pittsburgh over Tennessee on the road, and Pat Narduzzi came through for me. So, shout out to Doozer. Love it. Next game up here, this could be a little trip-em game for the team who's beaten nobody. West Virginia and number 4 ranked Oklahoma. What do you think?
Well, Oklahoma's got all the weapons. Spencer Rattler's an excellent quarterback. He was dynamite last year as a freshman. He's got all the moves. Can run the ball well, throws the ball well. Oklahoma's actually playing some decent defense this year. I think that Oklahoma wins this game, and frankly wins it very easy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Oklahoma in this matchup. I hope it's a good game, but Oklahoma's another one of those teams that I want to show me something, and I'm gonna pick Oklahoma in this game. I know West Virginia's not ranked, but I think that this is a game where they got to take care of business and they got to punch down, drag out, do what they got to do. I'm going to pick Oklahoma to try and make a statement in this game. Next one that we have here, I'll circle one more here. And the one I'm going to circle is Arizona at Oregon. Could Oregon get tripped up on ESPN Saturday, September 25th at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time?
No. Oregon is a real deal after beating Ohio State. Frankly, I think they may go undefeated this year. Pretty close to it, but they don't trip up on this game. This is Oregon all the way.
All right, PJ and I did not differ, I don't think, on any of this. So we're either going to be 100% right or 100% wrong. That's how it looks. We're both picking Oregon at home.
Don't go to your bookmakers and make our bet.
Yeah. Well, what do they always say? If you bet against Syracuse, you win. If you bet with Syracuse, they lose. Greg said Notre Dame, Wisconsin. We picked that one, Greg. We did that a little bit earlier here, and I thought I put it up on here. But did we not put? Yeah, I put it up on here. We picked Wisconsin. So you should have that one, Greg. We did pick Wisconsin. Yeah, it's a little bit ahead on the timeline on Facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. We both picked Wisconsin in that game. So there you go. And now, okay, so he's got it. Good. So with that being said, PJ, we'll jump to the NFL really quick here. Any notes on the NFL before we make our Week 3 picks?
Oh, I'm so disappointed in the Jaguars. I don't know what to say. I'm trying to stay positive. You know, I know the kid is a rookie. I thought the first drive they went down 77 yards. It was a touchdown pass. I think he finally starts to gel, and all of a sudden the defense comes in and shuts him down for three quarters. I don't understand what Urban Meyer's doing. I can't follow him. I don't understand the psych. He's pleading in the paper, hey, stay with us, come to the games, please give me more time, da, da, da. And he's really talking down here, which is unusual for Urban. And he's going to the public saying, we got to give us some time. Well, Urban, you had all summer to put this game together. You had 3 preseason games. You've had a couple games that you've lost big. I need you to win, Urban. I need you to show me something. I need you to show me what you did at Florida for 4 years when you won 2 national championships. I need you to tell me how to do it and show me how to do it with a team that's supposed to be better than they are.
And you're right. Urban Meyer has all this hoopla, all this stuff go on. Tim Tebow gets brought in and dances around for a while, and they don't keep him. And then you have ETN go down, but you still have James Robinson. You build depth in the defense. You build depth on the offensive line, and the defense is Swiss cheese, and the offensive line is not protecting anybody. Trevor Lawrence is running for his life trying to beam this ball downfield, and he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to throw interceptions as a rookie based on just like normal average. That's what rookie quarterbacks do. They're getting into the NFL. And Peyton Manning threw a buttload of interceptions and won one game when he was a rookie for the Colts. So I expect Trevor Lawrence to throw interceptions, but I expect him to throw a lot more when he's running for his life. Now, some of his passes were way off in this last game, and it was ugly. And there was other times where, this offensive line just gave him nothing to work with. So the glaring issues with this team, the defense and the offensive line. The defense as a whole and the offensive line. And that should have been addressed. Like you said, give us time. This is the NFL. You have 18 weeks now instead of 17. But you had your time, Urban. You didn't get hired yesterday. You're there right now. You were there in camp. You were there in OTAs. You're there in rookie minicamp. You're there for the draft. You should know what you're doing. Okay? You should know. There is a maturation process, and you are coming from a college coach to an NFL coach, and there is a difference. But at the end of the day, you need to win. Because what's the difference between you and Doug Marrone if you have a season this year where you go 1 and whatever, 1 in 16, 2 and 15,
Right.
3 and 14? It's nothing. So, go ahead.
I've been following football for centuries. Centuries, going back to Bart Starr and Joe Namath. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks come and go. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks flame out. Some average quarterbacks wind up to be good, like Bart Starr. This kid, Trevor Lawrence, is the real deal. You know, I know you're saying, well, Papa J, you're saying that you're in Jacksonville, you live in St. Augustine, and you follow him. It's true, I do. But this kid is the real deal. This kid is going to be a superstar in this league. Now, whether Urban can tap that potential and get it right on the field, it's not Trevor's fault. Urban, put together a game plan. Let your offensive coordinator loosen the kid up a little bit. He's got to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker than he's doing. I know he's trying his ass off, Daniel. I mean, you can see the expression on his face. And he's a big kid. It's terrible to watch him. It's awful to watch him go through this maturation process, which is a good point. But I've watched quarterbacks for a long, long, long time. This kid's got it all. So I'm hoping that we're hoping that everyone's hoping that he could put it together here in the next several games and maybe get the Jaguars to play 500 ball. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for the world. I'm not asking for a Super Bowl now. I just want to see it be competitive right down to the buzzer and hope you can win a few games.
Yeah, you know, and to me, I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, I said 8-9 this year at best. So it's what you said, right? Middle of the road. So that's where I have the Jaguars. We'll have plenty of talk on the Jaguars because, spoiler alert, there's going to be something cool happening next week for those of you that are wondering, where's DT going to be next week? Well, stay close to my social media and find out because it has to do with Papa Joe. And that's all I'm saying, and you're not going to make me say anything else. Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. Big time announcement for next week, coming this week, Rutro, so be ready for it. PJ, let's make our picks for the NFL. We'll do a few picks here in the NFL to wrap up today's broadcast. Wall-to-wall Papa Joe just running with us like Usain Bolt. This man's got energy, and I appreciate it. PJ, here we go. How about this one? Thursday Night Football. Carolina at Houston. Davis Mills, the Stanford quarterback, gets the start after being drafted in this year's NFL Draft. Up against Sam Darnold in the Carolina Panthers. Sam Darnold and company has a record of 2-0. What do you think about Carolina and Sam Darnold coming into Houston to face Davis Mills, the rookie quarterback, in his first ever start in the NFL?
Well, Sam Darnold, we saw what kind of quarterback he was at the Jets, and that was a terrible team. And somehow they let him go to Carolina, and he's a world beater. It's coaching, I guess. Houston's a train wreck. Who knows if they're ever going to be a quarterback down there again. Tyrod Taylor, of course, was the quarterback after the unfortunate situation with what's his name? Can't even say his name. I'm so embarrassed about him. But I look for Carolina to pull this off.
Yeah, I'm going for Carolina in this game as well. Got to go with the Panthers. You know, we said it. Sam Darnold. I talked to my buddy Ross, a longtime Jets fan. He said, you know, Sam Darnold he goes, I knew this was going to happen. He was going to go to another team and he was going to look so good. I said, yeah, because when you leave the Jets organization, you leave a true, we've said it earlier today in today's show, you leave a true dumpster fire. The dumpster fire in the Jets, the dumpster fire for the New York Jets is not just a traditional dumpster fire. Inside of the dumpster fire are possums, skunks, bandits, water moccasins. They're all there, okay? It's all in there. That is think of every bad movie you've ever seen. The DVDs of those movies are in that dumpster fire with the skunks. That is the Jets. So am I surprised Sam Darnold's good somewhere else? No. I thought he was more talented. I'm happy that he is. And I hope he keeps winning. Because the Jets, again, tried to scapegoat a quarterback, and it blew up in their face. So fix your organization. You have problems with the structure of your building. It's going to crumble. It doesn't matter who you bring into the building if the building's going to fall over. That's how I feel about the Jets. Do better in your organization because I've seen their organization firsthand and there's things I didn't like about it years ago. I didn't like the way that they treated people in general. So be good to people. It goes a long way. It's a miracle how being nice to nice people actually helps over time. Or you can have an ego and have the wonderful franchise that you have currently. Next game up, PJ. that we'll hop to here. Are the Giants going to beat the Falcons at home at MetLife? Or are the Falcons going to go 0-3, PJ?
Oh, I saw the Falcons play this last week. They looked awful. They looked good for a while, and Matt Ryan's a first-class quarterback. It's a stud. He's not firing at all, and he is, but he's not. He's not winning games. He's not doing it in crunch time. He had a couple of interceptions there in the last part of the game, but I do look for him to bounce back. New York, no, I like Atlanta to bounce back.
All right, you're going with Atlanta. I'm going with the Giants at home. So I'm very reluctantly picking the Giants. This game, I'm not going to be eating food when I watch this game because I feel like I'll throw up whatever I'm eating. So I will not be watching the Falcons-Giants game avidly. That's just not going to be I can't do it. I can't. It'll make me dry heave. So Tampa Bay at Los Angeles, the Rams is the last one we'll do here. Tampa Bay at Los Angeles. Your thoughts on this? This, to me, is a fantasy masterpiece of it. This is a fantasy spotlight game of the week. You have Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, as well as Rob Gronkowski, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, if he's healthy to go, and Chris Godwin, all worth the play in fantasy football. For the Rams, Matt Stafford, you have Tyler Higbee, as well as Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods worth the play. Two awesome wide receiver cores just going to score a bunch of points, I think, and go up against each other and have some fun. What do you have for Tampa Bay at Los Angeles Rams?
I look Tampa to outscore them. You're right about it's going to be a high-scoring game. Brady's amazing. I've watched these games for a couple of weeks now, and I've watched him play all these games. He just doesn't look like he's a million years old. I mean, he's quick, he's fast. Maybe not fast. He's fairly quick. He still gets rid of the ball really quickly. And Mike Evans, frankly, is one of the best wide receivers. And if he's alone on a defensive back, it's 6 points. And he'll go up there at 6'4" and pull his leg. He is Brady's blanket, not Gronk. Gronk inside the 10-yard line is unstoppable too. But Mike Evans, when you stretch the field, Mike Evans is going to score. Mike Evans is going to score a lot.
Yeah, I got Tampa Bay in this one as well. Tampa Bay going on the road. Normally, East Coast going to the West. Well, if you're Jacksonville going to the West Coast, they've struggled out there. But I don't worry about Tom Brady. That man is killing it. Was he going to be 45 years old, I think? I think he just turned 45, maybe. Man's insane. And I got him on my fantasy team. So
I think we can talk about this. The guy he's a walking legend at 45 years old. Go figure this. I can't even walk at 75.
Well, and it's crazy. It's awesome. But my thing is we got to get PJ around, and we're getting you around in your little dune buggy. So making sure that we take care of you and get you safely from point A to point B because PJ is precious cargo. So with that being said, I'm picking the Bucs as well in this matchup, and I'm excited about the fantasy points that'll be scored in that game. A lot of great games coming up. Monday Night Football, Philadelphia, Dallas. Like I said, first time I'm excited to watch that game in 15 years, watching Philly and Dallas. So very excited. I picked the Cowboys in that one. With that being said, we went from one field to another field to another field. The baseball field to the college football field to the NFL's fields all around the country. Papa Joe, 2 hours and change, did it with us. It's 11:11, Make-A-Wish. And if your wish is for Papa Joe to be back next week, I feel like you're going to get it, God willing. So, a lot of great stuff coming up. PJ, as always, I appreciate you. Thank you for the laughs. Thank you for the fun. Thank you for your expertise. And more than anything else, thank you for being exactly who you are.
Okay, a lot of fun.
Talk to you soon. That coming from Papa Joe here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Let us take our final step aside of the day, and we'll wrap up the show. Friday's going to be bonkers, folks. Friday's going to be nuts because I have all of my Syracuse interviews from the end of the win over Albany into this week with Liberty coming up. You do not want to miss a second of tomorrow's broadcast with the annoying moment of the week, lead, top dog of the week, and so many conversations with the Qs. I'll tell you about it after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bite our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success at Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and facebook.com/live-now-dt. Tune in Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on all those channels for all of your opportunities to listen to Wake Up Call live. And then once we go live, you could go to the archive and get our specials on Stitcher, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or simply Wake Up Call DT, which is one word. Thank you to our Central and Upstate New York partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Progressive Dental, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Go to maandpazpopcorn.com in any one of the 50 states and use the promo code DT20 and you'll get 20% off your order on me. That's maandpazpopcorn.com. Use the promo code DT20. Avicoli's, where we'll be tonight, Thursday, September 23rd at 6 p.m. on the Pizza Casual side, celebrating Liverpool Warriors field hockey team. Very excited to have Coach Molly Brown and the squad there, so come see us there tonight, as well as thanks to K9 Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, and Chick-fil-A Clay, K9 Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, Honda City of Liverpool, Mother's Cupboard, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, PB&J's Lunchbox, the Millhouse Market, and those Lemoyne Dolphins, folks. You know what it is. Every Wednesday is Dolphin Time at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Every Wednesday, trading off here. The first and third Wednesday, AD and DT every single month, with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself picking a topic every month to center on the Lemoyne College Dolphins and speak about their message in a lot of different ways and a lot of unique ways and different angles. So check that the first and third Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time of every month. And the second and fourth Wednesday, which is this upcoming Wednesday of every single month, you will have the Dolphin Dive, where I get to dive into a conversation with a coach, student athlete, or somebody within the athletic department of Lemoyne and tell their story. And we have a great story coming up for you this coming Wednesday, which I'm very, very excited about. And so a week from yesterday coming up. So make sure you set your dial. Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, our Dolphin Time with AD and DT on the first and third Wednesday of every month, and the Dolphin Dive on the second and fourth Wednesday. And we look forward to having you here, as well as supporting your Dolphins on site, on campus, on Salt Springs Road, right off Erie Boulevard, supporting all of their teams and all of their games that they have coming up here. A big shout out to the Lemoyne College Dolphins, to Bob Beretta, as well as to Linda Lemira and all of the wonderful people working at Lemoyne College to bring us a fantastic product. And, of course, more than anything else, to teach, elevate, uplift, love, and help our kids move forward. So thank you, Lemoyne, for all you do, where greatness meets goodness. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. A shout out to Papa Joe, a shout out to you, and a lot of fun. I'm not done today. I have a trio of shows today. So I need to go clear my pipes and take a little time for myself, because I'll be back twice tonight. 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be at Avicoli's, corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, within walking distance of Liverpool High School, featuring the Liverpool Warriors field hockey team with 3 awesome guests and head coach Molly Brown. Come out, get something to dinner, something to eat, enjoy yourself, and sit and watch the show. We'll have a great time. 6 p.m. If you're out of town, you can watch on facebook.com/livenowdt. Then 2 hours later at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be previewing Liberty at Syracuse with my good buddy, Isaac Elford. And him and I will be making a special announcement overall tonight at 8 p.m. as well. So, a lot of great stuff coming up. Live broadcast at Avicoli's at 6 p.m. with Liverpool Warriors field hockey team. And then at 8 p.m., we have our pregame show for Liberty at Syracuse's football game with Isaac Elford. So, I'll see you for both. I appreciate you for all. And make sure you go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt to get all of these beautiful broadcasts, as well as facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, Facebook or Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. In the meantime, and as always, do not waste a moment of your life. Do not let what anybody else says about you affect how you feel about yourself, unless it makes you more loving to yourself and better to yourself. The only things you should listen to are the things that are going to uplift you and challenge you and make you better. Beyond that, and above all, God bless, no stress, do your best. I'll talk with you soon. Be well. And I hope you all have a Papa Joe in your life, because I'm very much blessed. He doesn't give me any stress, and he always pushes me to do my best. I love you, Papa Joe. I'll talk with you all soon.